At the end of the day, when you're all alone in the dark, the only thing that counts is this: the law. And you will be alone when you swear to uphold these ideals. For most of us, it's only dust in the streets. For the few of us that survive to old age, the proud loneliness of the long walk. A walk that every judge must take outside these city walls, into the unknown, and there spend your last remaining days making law to the lawless.
Welcome to this episode of special episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Odd. We're your host, Mark and Sam. Today we're going to be talking about Dredd. Right, this is actually the second time we've tried to record this. We did record one yesterday, and I don't know what I did, but I lost my part of it. I don't think Sam was too bothered about that because he was still on it, but we're going to try it again. How do you feel about it, sir?
I still say you could have re-recorded yours from mine.
Yeah, that would have been well non-spontaneous though, wouldn't it? Anyway, alright, let's get into it. What we're going to do today is we actually watched Judge Dredd and Dredd, and we're going to sort of talk about both films and compare and contrast kind of thing. We'll avoid spoilers for Dredd for the first part, certainly in the discussion of Judge Dredd, and we'll give you a brief overview on what we thought of Dredd before we get into spoilers. For those of you who haven't seen it, don't want it spoiled, so you can come back and listen to it. This podcast at a later date. Right, okay.
As a city, we continue to grow.
73 citizen riots.
Come and get us! Throw out your weapons and prepare to be judged! Judge this!
Court's adjourned.
Dredd, you're a legend. You were my finest student.
Get Dredd!
Dredd, you're under arrest.
What's the charge?
Murder.
The evidence has been falsified!
Guilty as charged.
I never broke the law! I am the law!
You want chaos?
The sentence shall be life imprisonment.
I'm the chaos. Dredd?
Every crushing paw!
Excuse me? We're not together.
It's not for this council to play God.
Who says politics is boring? We're going to war.
You're a lot of fun to be with, Dredd!
Mr. I am the law!
You got a lot in common.
I'll be the judge of that.
Dredd, look out!
Judge Dredd, made in 1995, stars Stallone, Max von Sydow,
Schneider.
Rod Scheider. Is it Scheider or Schneider? Schneider. And Diane Lane. Okay, it's been out. This film's kind of vilified. Anything I see talking about Judge Dredd at the moment, this film's considered sort of below, quite contemptible. We sat and watched it for fresh. My memory of it was that it wasn't great, but it was okay. But we watched it fresh, didn't we? And we've both seen it before. So what was your thoughts, Sam?
I still like it.
Yeah, it's all right. It's not as bad as some people are suggesting. There's some positives about it. Should we talk about the negatives first? And, so we can end on a positive note. Rob Schneider. He's a big negative. He's not funny.
No.
He's kind of irritating. He's annoying. He's generally annoying. I know that I can kind of see why they did it.
Always gets in the way, and he's not like Fergie from the comics at all.
No, Fergie from the comics is a big dumb lunk who's good-hearted, isn't he? This guy's just a bit annoying, really.
He's a criminal.
Kind of. He lives in the under.
No, he is a criminal. At the start of the film, he's coming back from.
Oh no, sorry. Yeah, Rob Schneider's Fergie is a criminal. The Fergie in the comic book is an undercity dweller that everyone's scared of because he's tough he's big and he's tough.
And he has a baseball bat.
And he wields a baseball bat, and he's always surrounded by flies as well.
Yeah.
Who he keeps trying to hit, but usually hits himself in the face with the baseball bat, trying to swat the flies. He kind of considers them his pets, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
The other negatives of the film to me were there's some terrible, quite bad lines in it.
Yeah.
Cheap one-liners that really didn't work, which was okay, except when Stallone delivered his ones, it didn't quite work. Dredd shouldn't be doing that. Dredd does some awesome one-liners. Let's not get that wrong. He does do one-liners, but they just work for Dredd. He keeps it very short and sweet.
And it's usually very precise moments,
Yeah.
not sort of, I'll say this and then this, every time I do this. Like he says, I am the law.
Yeah.
So many times.
And he keeps saying, I knew you'd say that.
Yeah,
kind
which
of
is
irritating.
not funny.
No. Those lines were a bit annoying. The one thing that was they did some things right in this, but one of the problems I had is they did treat the entire Judge Dredd mythology, 2000 AD Mega City 1 as one big shopping trip and just picked bits they liked, bunged it in without context, real proper context. For example, the Angel Gang. They're a great criminal gang, and in one of the major Judge Dredd stories called The Judge Child, in this they look good and they look the part and they sort of act the part, but they got attributes that they just don't really belong to them. It didn't need to be there, like they're cannibals. What else was there?
They're cannibals, they're religious.
They're religious.
For some reason. In the comics, these guys revel in slaughter. They made the father enhanced his son cybernetically to make him meaner.
Yes.
So he could kill better.
They're almost like the family equivalent of the Joker. Kind of thing.
Kind of.
But in the film, that some of that's lost. Some of it's still there, but some of it's lost. However, the film does look good. The story also was kind of weak. The whole plot line, to me, the Janus plot to sort of give Judge Griffin control of the city using Rico, who is Dredd's clone brother. It was Dredd. That a bit odd to me. As a story, it didn't really work. It wasn't a Judge Dredd. Basically, we feel there was elements that were good, but it wasn't really a Judge Dredd story, was it?
Nah.
I mean, it kind of started to fall apart when he took his helmet off. Well, when Fergie appeared, really.
Yeah.
And him taking his helmet off, which was going to happen with Sylvester Stallone, that was a problem too.
They weren't going to let him just sit there.
No, I mean, he's a star. They need to know. Something that Cole Urban doesn't do, it has to be said.
Yeah.
To his credit. And still manages to act through that helmet. Okay, we've gone through the bad points. What about the good points? What do you think was good?
The city design is beautiful.
There was some nice
brilliant.
artwork in this. Art design and concept design, wasn't there?
Yeah.
It looked like proper Mega City one from the comics to me.
Yeah.
Which was really nice to see. In terms of character, I like some of the characters they put in.
Yeah.
Alright, we don't like Fergie, and we were
No.
not best pleased about how the Angel Gang came out. However, Hershey was pretty good, wasn't she?
Yeah.
I thought Diane Lane did a really good job as Judge Hershey. She kind of caught the character. Though Hershey's not she is in a lot of Judge Dredd stories, but she's kind of stern, a bit like Dredd.
Yeah.
It's not quite as harsh, but she's more like Dredd than some of the other characters other judges that you meet. And she was quite good in this, even though she was a bit softer than Dredd. She kind of was with Dredd all the way.
Yeah.
Anything else?
She was a love interest towards the end.
Kinda, yeah. They just foisted that in. Something they didn't do in Dredd, it has to be said.
Yeah.
Is that a spoiler? Nah, that's not a spoiler.
No.
The Cursed Earth was kind of cool. They weren't in it very long, but it was kind of cool. And I kind of liked the bit where they had to get back in from the Cursed Earth through Mega City. That was kind of fun. It looked really like the fire was behind them as well.
Rob Schneider made a complaint that Stallone had more fire retardant gel. on his back than him.
In the extras.
And of course, it's Fergie's fault that they almost die.
Yes, that's true.
He sort of drops to the ground, screams for Dredd, turns and looks at the fireball, and just sits there screaming. Dredd has to come pick him up and drag him the rest of the way.
Yeah, that's true. I liked... Was there any other characters or bits you particularly liked?
I like the ABC Warrior.
That was a cool robot. That was a really nice practical effect, wasn't it? It wasn't quite in Judge Dredd mythos, but I could put up with it because it was such a cool looking robot.
Yeah. It does kind of fit, because they do have, like... There are robots in Judge Dredd.
Yeah, that's why it's not too far away. They're not. It wasn't a proper ABC Warrior if you're talking about the ABC Warrior comic strip, but it was conceptually in there with the ABC Warriors, and it was kind of fitted really well with this particular. You could argue it's a different kind of ABC Warrior from the comic strip, so it's fine, and it looked really good. I also liked Max von Sydow as Judge Fargo. I thought that was a good bit of casting. He brought some gravitas to it.
I still don't get why they chose the head judge to be Fargo, who, in the comics, is long dead.
He's
and
like
the villain to be Griffin, when there's already a villain chief judge in the comics.
Yeah, Judge Cal they could have used Judge Cal. Maybe they were trying to think, well, if this works, I got a feeling they were thinking of this as first in a franchise, and it didn't work out because it didn't make enough at the box office. There was definitely some love of the comics in this. It wasn't all just completely rip up the book and start again and do what we want to do. There was definitely some references to the Cursed Earth, some of the better concepts. So I think Danny Cannon, who directed it, didn't go on to do much else after this, unfortunately. Did have some affection and knowledge of the comics, which I think a lot of people say, they didn't know really what, they were just taking plot lines and that was it. I think it's a bit more than that, but unfortunately it just didn't work out. And the effects, I like the practical effects in this. They were really good. Some of the flying bike stuff was okay. You could see the join, kind of. In fact, at the cinema, you could see the join more. I definitely saw some matting when I went to see this. I went to see this at the cinema when it first came out, which I didn't see on the DVD. I think they cleaned up the print a little more for the DVD release, so some of the joins weren't so obvious. But it's really cool. Was there any particular scene or liked?
There was the sending the clones scene.
The line sending the clones.
No, it's not just the lines. The scene, because all these clones start burst from their pods. They'll get out and then they disappear.
Yeah, it was that was pretty poor, actually.
It wasn't a bad idea. I like the idea of Dredd having to fight loads of Rico clones.
Yes, that is cool, but not when they're half made.
No.
And unarmed and so on and so forth. We haven't really talked about Rico, have we? What do you think he was as a villain?
Armando Asante was pretty good.
He's effective as a brother.
Nothing like Rico in the comics. But...
No. But I think he was a good match for Stallone's, Dredd's brother. I actually saw, there was another film with Stallone, which isn't very famous, quite a cool film called Paradise Alley, I think, where it's three brothers in 30s New York, and one of the brothers is into wrestling. It's not Stallone who's into wrestling. And in that, Stallone and Armando Asante are brothers, and it works well in that too. So they've already played brothers before. It's kind of interesting to see him come back. I think he's quite a good actor. He hasn't been used in that much, actually, but I kind of like him. I also really like the scene where Dredd's talking through the trainees about ethics and what it means to be a judge. You'll probably die on the streets, and if not, you may well take the long walk out to bring law to the lawless. That showed the love of the comics, in my opinion, and it was a good scene. Stallone acted that quite well, apart from the little jokey bit where the flying bike does on it, which really wasn't needed. But
flying bike bits, the flying bikes in the comics, they have their bikes and then they have flying bikes. It's two separate things.
Yeah, they don't have bikes that suddenly
completely different.
Yeah.
But they decided for some reason to make them the same in this.
So overall, we kind of like this film. It wasn't as terrible. I don't think it's anywhere near as terrible as some people are saying. Now this new Dredd's out. However, it is got a fairly low rating on IMDb, in my opinion. What would you rate it?
76.
76. Good, fairly good score then. I rated 63.
It's better than Blade Runner. That's an awful film. It has no plot. He has
it's
no
not.
plot. He goes to the places, he gets it completely handed to him, and by sheer luck, he manages to kill the
Yeah, no, I can't agree with you there. He's not better than Blade. Okay,
Why
that's your opinion.
Why is his room completely dark apart from the kitchen?
Yeah, all right. Let's leave Blade Runner. I'm gonna play this back to you in like 10 years, and where you're
I'll still willingly tear apart Blade Runner.
All right. So between us, we got about 70, wasn't it? About 7 out of 10. IMDb has its 5.1 out of 10. So we think it's a better film than that for sure. Between us, easily better.
Right.
Okay, let's move on to Dredd.
We can fight our desires. Ooh, when we start making fire.
Makes the brain feel as if time is passing at 1% its normal speed.
We get ever so old.
If we play this right, we could take the whole city.
Whether we like it or not.
800 million people living in the ruin of the old world. Only one thing fighting for order in the chaos. The men and women of the Hall of Justice.
Peachtree's is the manufacturing base for all the slow-mo in Mega City 1.
You know how often we get a judge up in Peachtree's?
Well, you got one now.
She has control of everything. Levels 1 to 200.
This is Mama. Somewhere in this block are 2 judges.
That's not good.
I want him dead.
We're gonna have to go through them. Rookie, you ready?
Yeah.
You look ready.
Fire!
Judgment time.
Let's finish this.
Mama is not the law. I'm the law. Negotiations over. The sentence is death.
Right, first we'll just give you some impressions. We'll not spoil this initially. We'll tell you when we're starting on the spoilers, so we'll just give you some impressions. Exciting film, good film.
Yeah, both.
Really good film. I rate this film really highly. This, to me, is a kind of grindhouse Dredd. It's dirty, it's violent, it's extremely graphic.
It's a day in the life.
It's a day in the life of Dredd. But it's really, really good to see it. I went to see it in 3D. The 3D did diminish it in terms of it was, you could see everything. Nothing was too dark, and it enhanced certain bits of it really nicely. So the 3D, I'd say the 2D one's probably pretty good, but unfortunately where we are, we don't seem to have a choice. It was all 3D. And bizarrely, when we went to the cinema, there were like 6 people in there.
Yeah.
It was a Saturday afternoon.
We keep having this problem.
Yeah, with Van Helsing, it was just the 2 of us.
Abraham Lincoln.
Sorry.
And,
yes, Abraham Lincoln. There was just the 2 of us.
Expendables, there weren't many.
No, but with Abe Lincoln, it was the very last day it was on, and it wasn't a good time. It was like it was late afternoon, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It wasn't a good time, so you could kind of get it. But I'm kind of sad. I thought there'd be more watching Dredd than we got. I mean, we're in the biggest screen in the cinema, and there was 6 of us in there. However, that kind of makes it nice, really. It's just a shame. I hope this film does well. What do you think as Carl Urban as Dredd?
Oh, he's good at that.
He's an excellent Dredd. He really gets the face and the
jaw.
gait and the stance right. And the jaw. The jaws. He's a good Dredd. The general story was very exciting. I don't think can we say much more without spoiling it? We need to start spoiling it, don't we, really?
Yeah.
Okay, let's give our scores, and then whoever's listening to this who doesn't want spoilers can then stop at this point. I give it... What do you give it?
85.
85. I give it 90, so we rate this very highly. Between us, 88, say. 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb at the minute, so we rate it higher than IMDb. However, this is a film to see. If you like Grindhouse, if you like action, if you like extreme violence, and a nice, clear hero, and a fairly good villain, this is the film for you. Alright, right, we're going to go into spoilers from this point on. Okay, so, it starts off with Dredd, taking Anderson. It
doesn't start off. It starts off with Dredd just doing what he does.
Doing his business, chasing someone, isn't he, that's starting to shoot him in a car, taking down people. He basically takes a van out once they start shooting him, which crashes. He then chases down the line. Well, he doesn't even run, does he?
He walks.
But that guy's taking a hostage, and he's sort of saying, like, you know, if you release the hostage now, I'll guarantee your life without parole. And he said, is that the best you... What's he say? I can't remember.
Is that the best you can do, Judge? You got no bartering tool. And then he goes, the judge goes, you're wrong, hotshot. What? I said, hotshot. And his gun sort of beeps. And then he shoots the guy straight in the mouth with a flare.
Yeah, and his like head explodes. Not explodes, it just
burns.
Catches on fire, doesn't it? It's pretty cool. Anyway, it involves Dredd having to take out Anderson, who's in this, is a rookie who didn't quite pass the exam, but because she's got quite powerful psychic abilities, they want him to still assess her, which he's not very impressed about. So they go into a block. Funny enough, she doesn't wear a helmet, which
she says it interferes with her psychic abilities.
Good plot in that. That means we've got a human face to see.
She never wears a helmet in the comics either.
No, she doesn't. You're right.
I think she wears it once, and that's during the Apocalypse War. So
no, I can't even remember her wearing it once. She
turns up. It's like in the rain. So
yeah, she's a different Anderson. This one in the comics, she's a fairly senior judge who's psychic. Yeah. She's a wisecracking kind of judge that Dredd doesn't really appreciate at all, because Dredd's like that. Dredd is a great character who never, ever, ever changes. He's rock solid. He's always got his opinion. He's grim, and he just gets on with business. Anderson comes along and makes a few jokes. However, she was a young Anderson, wasn't she? She was more timid or more introverted than the Anderson we see from the comic books. But she's still blonde.
In the comics, they'll do stuff like hand her a bag of left hands, right hands, and she'll put because it's evidence from some killing that they think may be connected to a psychic.
Yeah.
So that she just puts it on the table and goes, ooga booga, woogie woo, I'm here, lefty, where are you? And then she just sort of goes, it's in Sector 13 or Block 12.
Yeah. She messes with people, doesn't she?
Yeah.
But she's a fairly still experienced judge in the comics, and Dredd respects her abilities, even though he doesn't appreciate the wisecracking. Whereas in this, she's a rookie. I can see this particular rookie becoming the Anderson from the comics in the future, possibly. Maybe not quite as. She's kind of glamorous in the comics.
Yeah.
I don't quite see that one doing this, but I can certainly see her becoming more confident as her abilities grow, because it really works well in this storyline, doesn't it? Her psychic abilities. There's some interesting stuff going on. What did you think of the art design in this?
It's still very good, but it's more sort of tame.
It's more gritty, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's gritty. Now, if you're a 2000 AD fan, knowledgeable about that thing, you'll appreciate there's lots of things in the background going on that reference other storylines. For example, you see a Chopper tag, a bit of graffiti by Chopper, which is the tag in the comic. On some of the wall, you see other references to other stories, like
Kenny
in posters. There's a Kenny Who reference, and there's other posters going on. Did you say you saw a fatty?
Yeah, there was a fatty during. There's a scene where the villain's sort of threatening the judge over the PA.
Right.
Like, indirectly.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, all my men will be hunting the judges throughout this entire block. If you want to stay safe, stay in your house.
Yeah.
And it like has a fatty for a moment with like a handful of like crisps.
Right, yeah,
Just
that sounds like a fatty, yeah. So there's references to other stories. This mega city isn't as close to the comic mega city as in the Stallone film, is it? It's more like a big urban sprawl with lots of cars, with mega blocks throughout, but spaced apart, fairly spaced apart, aren't they?
It's a city that's transitioning to Mega City 1.
Yeah. I think you're right, yeah. There's lots of smaller blocks. It's kind of like, imagine any busy city like Tokyo, New York, or London, and someone plonking mega blocks every 300, colossal mega blocks, every like half a mile. It's in a grid. That's kind of what it looks like. So it's slightly different from Mega City 1 of the comics. Yeah. And also, it seems quite realistic. You don't really. Do you see any robots? I can't recall any robots.
There's the judge drones, which sort of fly over.
Yeah, there were drones, and there was one of the bad guys. Well, in hyphens, bad guys has some sort of robotic eyes. Doesn't he?
Yeah, I was wondering whether he was a mutant or.
Yeah, I was wondering that, but then there was a very brief scene where you see his eyes taken out by Mama. I think. I couldn't quite tell. You saw it twice, and the first time I didn't realise it was in the second time when Anderson was reading his mind. You saw it again, so it was like, did Mama take his eyes out to put in robot on?
I thought that was just his fears.
It could have been. It was hard to tell. But this kind of gritty megacity wouldn't quite be some of the stuff that happens in the comics involved. It's kind of like the world of Futurama.
Yeah.
There's mutants, there's robots, there's aliens,
there's
an undercity, there's dinosaurs. And Megacity, I mean, Futurama's owes a lot to Megacity 1 comics. Yeah. It really does. Whereas I don't see that wouldn't quite work in the context of Dredd. I think it'd work in the Stallone's one, but I don't think it would work quite so well in this one. I think robots would be fine, but when you start Anderson's a mutie. They call her a mutie, don't they? So the muties are known. But one guy actually says, you're lucky. Usually they're born with like one arm and no legs. And so you did well. You know, he actually says something
there's
like
a bit where she's like moving a suspect and she just like stops and looks at like some scroll on the wall that says, no muties here.
Yeah, so you can tell there's like a prejudice thing. But she doesn't say anything about it. But yeah, that's a nice little touch. I'd forgotten that one. That's a nice little touch. What do you think of the music?
There wasn't really much of it.
No, it didn't really stand out. It drove the plot. In fact, I caught a little hint, I have to say, of a really nice piece of music from another film called Assault on Precinct 13. They kind of reference it in a very brief, and I caught that. But it made me realise not great the score was for this. It was adequate at best, really. Assault on Precinct 13 has got a similar vibe to this film, actually, in many ways. The original one, not the remake. And basically, the judges have to get through this block, don't they? They can't escape. All they can do is go upwards, really, and evade and attack. And in fact, at one point, Judge asks Anderson what his suggestions are, and her suggestions are hide or defence, isn't it? And he says, "What about attack?" There's some nice set pieces in this. There's a bit where Dredd and Anderson get trapped on a certain floor, don't they? And Mama decides she basically breaks out like 50 mil cannons,
50 mil chain guns,
and she guns the entire floor with people, living residents, just to wipe out Dredd. And then she sends in a crew to find his corpse. Luckily, Dredd...
From her perspective, she sends the guys in, she hears gunfire, she sees Dredd walk out with, one of her lieutenants, throws him over the guardrail and just walks back into the smoke.
Just take... Casual. Almost casually does it. She's like, So Dredd and Anderson There's other thing that is a really nice set piece, but there's also other things where Dredd makes him think he's in a phone box, so he gets around and start opening fire on it, and he's on the other side of the block, and he just fires a incendiary,
Fire
is it?
bomb. Yeah, it's
basically
incendiary.
A fire bomb, takes them all out at once, which is very cool. There's some other little touches like Anderson. Basically, it's the point where she has to gun down a perp not quite in cold blood, but almost. And Dredd just says, "What are you waiting for?" So she does it, but she can read his mind a bit. She can also read minds of other people, and she realises what she's done to other people by doing that. But that doesn't stop her being a judge. It's kind of interesting. And I also like one bit where she reads the guy who had his eyes out. She reads his mind and lets him go, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Even though he's been assisting Mama, and Judge questions this, and she says, "I still have a right to administer justice as I see it," or something like that, doesn't she? Something along those lines. And that's a fairly cool bit. Now, so in all, we really was there any other bits? I like the way Dredd just keeps the conversations very short. Yeah. He's not emotional. He just says, but like at one point, Anderson's talking about why she wants to help people, why she wants to be a judge, and she goes through a fairly long, sort of detailed speech about it, and he just looks at her and says, "Admirable," and carries on. That's his response. He's very cool. Yeah. I like. What about his summing up at the end when he's reporting what the day's been like after his day of hell?
Perps were uncooperative.
That's what he says, isn't it? Drug bust. Good as well. Okay, I'll tell you what. I've got a list here of things about each film. Shall we go through these and try and figure out which? I think we clearly both think Dredd is better than Judge Dredd.
Yeah.
Obviously, for our score, but still, we'll do this bit. Who's the best Dredd?
Carl Urban.
Yeah, I have to say Carl Urban. No, I don't think Stallone was as bad as...
Stallone was a bit too goofy.
Yeah. I had a story, Mark had told a story, he said, I knew there was something wrong with that when he interviewed Stallone afterwards, and he asked him what he thought the problems with the film were, and Stallone said, "I thought there was going to be problems when I went out on the first day on the set in the Judge Dredd outfit, and nobody laughed." You think, why would... It, to me, didn't quite have a handle on the character if he thought it was
he'd never read
Judge
Dredd beforehand, which is a problem.
Anyway, we're going to go with her, but even that, it did look quite good before he took the helmet off. He looked alright when he took the helmet off as well. But alright, okay, who was the best Dredd sidekick, Anderson or Hershey? We forget Fergie.
Yeah. Anderson, because she did more for the plot. Hershey did nothing in plot terms.
I really thought I can't remember her name now. The actress that played Anderson was very good in this. Though I have to say, I like Diane Lane as Hershey. I thought she was good, but I think I prefer Anderson as well. So we got two. We got the last two. Both of us think Dredd. Okay, best villain: Rico or Mama?
Mama.
Mama was really kind of intense, wasn't she?
Yeah.
We haven't really talked about Mama. Hedy, who's been in lots of things. 300. She was in.
She was in 300.
Yeah, she was the wife of Leonidas. She was also in the. She was in the Terminator series.
She was Sarah Connor.
She was Sarah Connor. She was pretty good in that. I kind of like her, and I think she was a mean-hearted.
Yeah.
Not quite psycho. She was acting like she'd seen everything in life, wasn't she?
With Rico, you didn't see much of what he did. You see him shoot a few people, but that's really it. With Mama, they go through like this detailed description of what she's done.
And wow,
it's
she got
horrible.
There. Yeah, and she's ruthless, essentially, isn't she? Ruthless. Yeah. And she doesn't mind making examples of people in a really horrible way, and she doesn't mind scaring people.
Straight from the art, the first thing that she does in the film is like order these three guys skinned, forced to take this drug called slow-mo, and then they throw them off the top floor.
Yeah, because the slow-mo makes them exist at 100th of the speed as reality, so basically it prolongs their agony, and they're well aware of the fall all the way down. We haven't really talked about the drug and that. That's nice premise, isn't it?
Yeah. Cool effects.
It leads to some really excellent effects of slow motion gunplay that's emerging
It
naturally
let them
from the plot.
light up the sort of surrounding.
Yeah.
Because they sort of take the drug and then everything's colourful.
Yeah, and that kind of worked really well with the 3D, didn't it? You didn't feel it was a bit dingy at all.
Yeah.
I think some of the effects in this are actually quite groundbreaking, especially the scenes where people are falling with glass around them and stuff like that. There's some really cool stuff in there. What about that first shootout where Dredd... I think it was the trailer, really. They produced the trailer, an 18 certificate trailer, where Dredd bursts into a room and starts firing into a room with guys that have just taken the drug, so you see bullets slowly go through them and their cheeks and stuff. That was very cool.
Yeah.
That was a very cool effect. As was when people were tossed off the side of buildings.
Yeah.
Look completely realistic. If you think back on like Die Hard, say, when Alan Rickman's tossed out the window, it looks quite bad these days. This looked completely realistic. It looked like people were falling.
It was kind of funny because a bit before the skinning and throwing off the ledge scene that I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
She takes the drug and then she's like in a bath and she's just sort of from her perception, she's like lifting her arm and she could see all the droplets of water.
Yeah, that was really nice.
Moving about and everything. And then it shows like the view from like her assistant. You can see her just sort of flicking water about.
Yeah, I really like that scene. Actually, that was really nice. Slow mo can sometimes be a bit too much. Say Zack Snyder films, he's always doing slow mo. It does work. In this, the slow mo completely worked for me. Completely they didn't use it too much, did they?
No.
That was the important thing.
They spaced it out quite far.
No, yeah,
it
was
good.
They
only used it 4 times throughout the time.
Yeah, they
only
used
see
it
it's
fairly
used 4
sparingly,
times.
and it made completely sense because it was all around the drug use. Okay, so we're both going to say Mama there, aren't we? Best villain sidekick. So that would probably be the ABC Warrior versus the black guy.
Yeah.
Who was they were holding as a suspect. Which one do you think was better?
I'd say the black guy.
He would certainly had more to do, though I have to say the ABC Warrior.
The ABC Warrior was very cool.
Very cool. Very
but
cool.
all it really did was show up and be the bouncer.
Yeah, it was a robot bouncer. Yes,
yeah.
Minder.
But the black guy was he actually scared Anderson at one point.
Yeah. Yeah.
So much he had to slap him.
He was a cool guy as well, he was like one of Mama's lieutenants, and he was a cool dude. Alright then, I think we'll split that. I'm going to stick with ABC Warrior, but you're going with Dredd. Alright, which was the best version of Mega City 1?
The Stallone version.
Yeah, I have to agree. It's much closer to the comic book, and I'm a big fan of the comic book, so I have to say I actually preferred the Stallone Mega City 1. I'd like to see, if they make a sequel to this, I hope they make a sequel to this, that I'd like to see a sector where there's more mega blocks. One that was like completely devastated in the war or something, which is just mega blocks rather than a mix of mega blocks and typical more. That would be quite cool to see.
They didn't really use the funny names for the mega blocks that they use in the comic. In the comics, they'll have 2 nearby, and they'll call them Abbott and Costello.
So it's the corner of Abbott and Costello and stuff like that. Yeah, they're cool. Yeah, all right. So Judge Dredd wins that one, I think, for both of us. Which one had the best story?
Dredd.
Yeah, that's clearly nice, clean, real engine of a film. This was. It just got on with it. Nice, clean story, straightforward. Told the story, got out. It was about 90 minutes in all, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And not a minute was wasted at all. It was nice, clean. As I say, it's like a really grand exploitation film with Judge Dredd. This was. It was really cool. Okay, best music.
Judge Dredd.
Yeah, not that it's particularly good. I just thought it was a little better than the music
Star
in
Wars.
Dredd. It was kind of
Superman. That's what I'm thinking of.
Orchestral Superman-y, Star Wars-y kind of thing. All right, best script.
Dredd.
Dredd again. Yeah, they got it pitch perfect. Everything in it reminded me of the Dredd from the comics in the way he talked, and there was nothing showy about this. There wasn't very little cheese. wasn't there? It just got on with it. Yeah, I'm going to say Dredd 2. Best art design.
Judge Dredd.
I'll agree with you there, yeah. Though I did like the art design in Dredd. Judge Dredd, because it now Mega City in it, and it got some really good concept art. The spaceship, well, not spaceships, the transport ships were good, the Cursed Earth was good, Mega City 1 was good, the uniforms were cool. Yeah, it's all good. Alright, best camera work. Cinematography.
Dredd. Because it just seemed better overall, because they could do more sort of dramatic looking shots.
Yeah, there was a proper tense thriller.
The really dramatic looking shots in Judge Dredd are like quite far, so it's just like a silhouette of Dredd.
Yeah. It was more 90s action film, wasn't it, Dredd? Yeah. Grand. Whereas with Dredd with Carl Urban, it was it's very tight and proper thriller. Claustrophobia was in there sometimes, wasn't there? You didn't know quite who was around the corner. You didn't know who was going to pop out from behind the door. There was some quite good scenes in that way. And I thought, alright, we'll finish on effects. I think it's kind of obvious what.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got 15 plus years on it. Dredd has got much, much better effects. And I think some of them are kind of groundbreaking. I know we've seen slow-mo before, but the fact that they integrated into the story so nicely so it made sense rather than just be, gee whiz, look, they're doing things slow so we can watch it better. Which it's sometimes cool, Zack Snyder did it.
It also seems kind of like the sort of thing that they'd have in Mega City 1, because
I agree.
In Mega City 1 there's some stupid stuff that they deal, like there's an arms trade.
Yeah.
Literally.
Their
arms. They sell arms.
Yeah, and they sell junk and there's all sorts of weird trades going on.
Otto Sump, who's the kind of king of silly sales.
Isn't there one where he does disgusting things?
Yes, it's like, have some barnacle on potato or stuff like that.
Really,
and it's like supposed to taste really nice, and Justice Department cannot find a reason to put this guy down. Because he's using all the stuff that they can't.
Disgusting. They're just closing down anyway in the end, I think.
Yeah.
It was interesting. The impression also of this was, I like the point that you made that this was almost like a transitional city between the Mega City one we know and the urban environment there is now. It appeared the Justice Department was kind of transitional. They weren't really on top of things, were they? No. They were just managing to keep things under control. They basically said, we can only solve 6% of crimes, serious crimes. So which ones are we going to pick today, kind of thing. And it was kind of cool. I like the whole idea of it being an assessment too. That was kind of wrapped up the day nicely. Even though it was a day in the life of Judge Dredd, it was a significant day for Anderson, which kind of made it interesting. Right. Basically, we thought this was a great film. Would you rate it? How would you rate it? Some of the other good films of this year, Batman, say, or Avengers.
It's up there.
It's up there.
It's not as good as Batman or Avengers, but it's still up there.
It's up there. I think this is going to be my top 10 of this year, I have to say. I have been looking for this for so long, it's ridiculous, though. I have been talking about it for a long time, haven't I? Yeah. Since it was announced, pretty much. Last couple of years I've been talking about this film. And I even said at the beginning of the year, I don't care about Batman. I just want to see Dredd.
You cared about Batman.
I did care about Batman. I was, when it came to it, I was very happy to go see Batman and the Avengers, but this was, at the beginning of the year, the one film I would have wanted to see above all others, and I wasn't disappointed. It wasn't a disappointment for it, even though my expectations were really, my expectations were high. It was my hopes weren't high. It was more my hopes were high, and they were met, I have to say. Okay then, we clearly recommend this.
Yeah.
I'm going to certainly buy it as soon as it's out on Blu-ray, and I intend to be watching it quite a lot of times in the future. Good fun. It deserved its 18 certificate. I'm so glad they didn't cut it to try and be a 15. It wouldn't.
Was that gory? Jeez.
I don't think they could have cut it to be a 15, could they? Without cutting it completely. It was gore.
It's like they shoot it.
Violence.
There's like even just Judge Dredd like blowing open a door. You see like the guy's. This is during the slow-mo bust.
Yeah.
You see like the guy's stomach sort of being pushed back as he flies across the room.
Yeah, it was very cool. Okay, alright then, just to repeat our scores, you said 85?
85.
And I said 90, so we rated
87,
this
86,
film highly.
88.
So between us, 88. So that's how much we like it. Go see it if you can, as soon as you can. Bye from me.
Bye.
Order. Now my court is in session. Will you please stand? First, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Judge 100 Years. Some people call me Judge Dredd. Now, I am from Ethiopia. To try all you rude boys for shooting black people. In my court, only me talk, cause I'm vexed. And I am the rude boy today. Who got this?
Yes, sir.
Rude boy Adolphus James? Yes, sir. Rude boy Emmanuel Zachariah Zaki Palm?
Present.
George Grabban Flea? Present. Adolphus James?
Yes, sir.
I see where you have been charged. 10 shooting with intent, 5 murder charge, 6 grab and flee charge.
But you are not.
Hush up! Guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty, sir.
I don't care what they say, take 400 years, stand down. Emmanuel Zachariah Zaki Palm?
Yes, sir.
You've been charged 15 charge of shooting intent, 15 murder charge. And I heard that you was the one down there in Sutton Street who tell the judge, rude boys don't care. Well, this is King Street, and my name is Judge Dredd, and I don't care. Now take 400 years.
I don't know what you're going to say, you know, Your Honor, because...
Hush up, what they trying to do, shoot me too?
No, Your Honor, but I didn't shoot him.
Well, quiet. 400 more years for you. George, grab and flee.
Yes, sir.
Stop your crying. Rude boys don't cry, that's what I hear.
I didn't do it, you know, sir. I'm free, man. I don't give you a chance.
I don't care. Hush up. This is my court. You're charged for robbing school children, robbery aggravation.
Well, man, I take my sentence to you, know, son. You shoot the man, you know. And you say them about if the judge come and come try, you know, son. I take my sentence to you, know, sir.
Hush up. Order. Adolphus James?
Yes, sir.
You rob school children. You boom the people's house. You shot black people.
But you and I don't give you.
Hush up. Just for talking, I now charge you for contempt, and that is a separate 100 years. I hereby sentence you to 400 years. I said hush up, hush up. You are sentenced to 400 years and 500 lashes. I am going to set an example. Rude boys, don't cry, don't cry. When I was in Africa, here you were tough.
I'm not guilty.
Court adjourned, take him away.